Yo.
What's up guys, I'm Code Gray. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about why you chose your bike. But before we get into that, there's some big thank yous I have to get to. So you see, in the past week and a half, I've gained like 28 subs. Crazy, I know. But I think a big part of that is because in the past week and a half, I've gotten like 5 shout outs from different channels. So to every one of you guys who have given me a shout out in the past week and a half, 2 weeks, I want you to know that I really appreciate it, guys. Wasn't expecting it, very surprised. So a great big thank you. And those channels are SquidSquatch, The Cheesy Bikers, CRAZYLEGS on a Bike, WestonSuperMotovlog, and Krakens Garage. Thank you guys. I appreciate all the kind words and encouragement. But I won't gush on too much longer. Just want you guys to know that I'm giving you a great big thanks, guys. Alright, now to the topic. Now I know there are a lot of different reasons people choose the bikes that they ride. It could be things like cost. Maybe you grew up in a family that rode a certain style of bike and that's just what you know, and since you grew up that way, that's what you like. Maybe you chose your bike because of your size. Maybe you were really short and you had to choose a bike you could fit on. See, I'm about average height, maybe a little over. I'm about 5'11 and a half. 6 foot if I stretch my neck out a little bit, you know. Yeah, maybe you're one of the taller guys that you also needed something to fit on. Something that you're not all scrunched up on like this. Like I said, I'm like right around 5'11", so I can pretty much fit on anything. But you got the taller dudes like Salty from Salty and Sprinkles. I hear he's like 6'2". Roger from Harley Throttle Juice is like 6'3". Then you got BoltBucket at 6'4", and then you have the giant among men, which is Big Bert at a whopping 6'7". So you know, those guys, they're definitely limited on the bikes that they can choose. Poor Big Bert, I think anything he jumps on is going to look like a mini bike, so he probably has to choose wisely. So one of the reasons I bring this subject up is because before I took my MSF course, I was honestly 100% on the fence on what style of bike I wanted to get. I honestly didn't know whether I wanted to get a sport bike or a cruiser. I had both in mind. Well, I didn't have a fully fared sport bike in mind. I had an upright naked bike or a cruiser in mind. And I really didn't know which one I wanted to get, because I like all motorcycles. But there were 4 things that happened that caused me to choose the sport bike route. And all 4 of those things happened at my MSF course. Now my MSF course was about 30 people, and they right around 30 people. And what they did is they split us up into 2 groups, 15 apiece. 15 of us had one side of the parking lot and 15 on the other side of the parking lot. And we had 4 different teachers, 2 per group. So on the first day of your MSF course, it's all in the class. You're just in a classroom. But the second day, they take you out into the parking lot. You go to choose your bike. Then you start your training. Well, in my class, they had a bunch of little Honda Rebels, a couple of small Suzukis, I don't remember what kind, little cruisers, and 1 dual sport, little DR200. So when the class started, they said go walk by the bike, or go stand by the bike that you want to learn on. So straight away I went to a Honda Rebel. I was going to learn on a cruiser. Well, it just so happened to be that I was probably one of the taller people in my class, and the only person left that didn't choose a bike yet was this little lady about 5 foot tall. So the teachers asked if I would mind swapping bikes with her, which I was fine with, which left me with the only bike left, which was the dual sport, the DR200. So I didn't get my chance to ride on the cruiser or learn on the cruiser. But I was okay with it. I fit on the dual sport just fine. We're gonna stop in here for a quick drink and a break, and we'll catch back up shortly. Oh, looks like someone's having a party. We'll stop over here. Guess what I forgot to do when I took off. Okay, break time's over, helmet strapped up, back to the story. Okay, as I was saying, they put me on the DR200, and no cruiser for me, which I was okay with. But there are 4 incidents that happened during the course of my MSF class that caused me to choose the style of bike I'm on today. Okay, it just so happened that during my class, they happened to pick me to be basically last to complete all the challenges, which I was okay with. That way I got to see what everyone else was doing and learn from their mistakes and know what was expected of me. So I was completely fine with that. But because of that, I did get to see all the mistakes. And the first one I seen, it was during the swerve and stop. Now, it wasn't from a guy in my section of the class. He was in the other side of the parking lot, but they were doing the swerve and stop. And he was on a little Honda Rebel, and he swerved a little too hard. He scraped his pegs a little bit, and it scared him, and he dropped the bike. He was fine. Bike was fine. He ended up passing the class, but that was incident number one. I didn't think too much of it then. The second incident was during the figure eight inside the box. Another person on one of the little Suzuki Cruisers tried doing the figure eight inside the box, couldn't get turned right, and ended up dropping the bike. They ended up not passing the class. And another person also trying to do the figure eight on a little Honda Rebel just could not stay within the box. No matter how hard they tried, the teacher gave them many opportunities to try and complete this, but they just couldn't complete it. No matter what they did, they just could not stay within the box. So they did not pass the class. And the last thing was something I did. One part of the challenges that you have to complete is you have to, they got a bunch of little cones set up in like a S pattern. And you have to go through them kind of quickly. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's all under 15 miles per hour, but for their little tight S turns, and you complete them under 15 miles per hour. But then you have to come to a quick stop as soon as you come out of the S turn. Well, I went into that little course way too hot. I was going way too fast. I was probably about 17, 18 miles per hour. And I realized I screwed up and I wasn't going to make the S turn. And this was during my test. But I happened to be on that dual sport, so I was able to push that bike way over. And because I was able to do that, I made it. Did my stop, and the teacher, she looked up at me and she giggled and she goes, "Boy, coming in a little hot there, weren't you?" I said, "Yeah." She's like, "You're lucky you're on that dual sport or you wouldn't have made that." And that right there, that sealed the deal on the sport bike for me. After I watched 3 people fail that were on cruisers, and me making it by the skin of my teeth because I was on a dual sport, that made me choose my naked upright. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure I probably would have done okay on the cruiser, but I was fresh to motorcycles and I really didn't know any better, so I had to go with what I learned right then. And those 4 incidents, that's why I'm on the bike I am on today. I still want a cruiser, especially now that I'm more experienced. But that's why I chose a sport bike. Well, actually, my first bike was a CB650F. It was a naked upright. That's why I went with that. And just since I like both bikes and I was already used to the sport style, that's what I stuck with. Yeah, so leave a comment down below and let me know why you chose the bike you're riding. Now that you know my story, I'm curious to know yours. Well, guys, I better end this before my GoPro batteries run empty. Once again, I want to give a great big thank you to everyone who's given me those shout outs and have subscribed and liked and commented and shared and all that. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. But I'm going to wrap this one up. I'm Code Gray. I'll see you guys in the next one.